I shouldn't think they're going to do it more. I shouldn't think they're going to go.
Let's put more water in the water.
Just so people are familiar with the history of the site, but we have a 35-acre area that was operated as various textile manufacturing businesses from 1916 to 1977, roughly about a 60-year period. And during that time, a good deal of contaminated sludge, a residue from the textile manufacturing process, was distributed throughout this area. There is sludge buried all over this area. Some deep 10 to 12 feet. Contains a good deal of pretty serious hazardous material, Senator. Cadmium, mercury, chrome, lead, and many other types of chemicals that are used in the textile business, dyes and things like that. Now, a lot of this dumping took place, of course, long before there were any laws prohibiting that type of activity. What we are doing is going through a process. We've been doing a lot of studies on just exactly how to address the many contamination problems that do exist on this site. We have just signed a contract for $8.5 million to begin the first phase of the long-term cleanup of the site. Basically, we're going to be excavating material from about 9 areas on this site. We'll be digging up close to 50,000 cubic yards of contaminated material. We then will be constructing back through here in the around the, you see the dry lagoon. We're going to be placing the contaminated material in that lagoon area. We will then be constructing a cap, a 15.5-acre cap over the entire site. The cap is designed to prevent snow, ice, rain from getting into the contaminated material and pushing it down into the groundwater. This cap is not, it's not just like a little cap either. It's a 15.5-acre cap that will consist of a number of different layers. First of all, there'll be about a 6-inch layer of topsoil, then an 18-inch layer of other type of subsoil. Then there's a vegetation layer, a layer that will about 18 inches of gravel more. Then you have a permeable layer in which the water will be able to filter down. Any water that reaches that one will be able to filter down. Then you have a impermeable layer, which is a synthetic cap that will go under the entire area. In addition, we have diversion trenches that will be built around the site, so any of the groundwater that is flowing under the site will be diverted away from any of the contaminated material. We'll have some gas venting in there as well to vent off any gases over the years that are developed as the material decomposes. This whole project, we hope to begin bringing material on this winter and begin a lot of the construction in the springtime. And I would like to say that Senator Kennedy's office was very instrumental in helping free up that contract. It was hung up at some of our sister federal agencies for some time, trying to get it through the contract process, and Senator Kennedy's people were very instrumental in doing that. That's the first phase. We are in the process now of completing a groundwater study in phase 2, a remedial investigation, taking a look at all of the off-site groundwater contamination that exists. That will be completed in December. We also have a phase 3 study that will be carried out beginning next spring on mercury contamination and contamination in the Sudbury River. On top of this, Senator, as you know, we did an emergency removal action back near the Nyanza plant back at the other end of the site, where we spent about $2.5 million removing highly contaminated material from the vault area, where we incinerated a lot of the material and took most of that heavily contaminated material off the site. And that was a $2.5 million project. And once again, Senator Kennedy's office has had a long history with this site because they were instrumental in helping us get some additional money, since the the limit that the agency has on an emergency site is $2 million, and we needed another $500,000 so we can move that last pile of contaminated material off the site. And Senator Kennedy's office did help us do that. So we have addressed some of the problems, Senator, but like so many of the other sites that we see around New England, we still have groundwater contamination and many other environmental problems that have to be dealt with. We appreciate you coming here to try and focus on this site, but also on the importance of trying to move a lot of these hazardous waste along.
I first of all want to thank Paul Keogh and Mike Deland for their continued attention to not only this site but to the 21 other toxic sites that we have around Massachusetts. Tragically, none of them have been cleaned up. This is not because of the attention that Paul Keogh and Mike Deland have given to all of these, what I call underground Chernobyls. But it has been because of really lack of resources, failure to get the resources necessary. This is an important priority. I think it's essential to the health and safety and the well-being of the members of this community, as the other toxic sites are to the members of those communities. Welcome the fact that we were able to clear out the underbrush, so to speak, in the battle between OMB, the Department of the Army, Department Corps of Army Engineers, and seen this contract to go forward. And I welcome the fact that these steps will be taken by the EPA. There's another very important additional concern of the members of this community, and that is the health implications of what is happening in this toxic site. I have talked to Dr. Mason, who is the head Center for Disease Control. They do have resources there. We have an effective team here in the state of Massachusetts that can move ahead, is ready to move ahead. I've been in touch with them. What is going to be essential is to free up the additional resources which we were able to get authorized in the EPA, and which gives the resources to EPA and the Center for Disease Control, so that Massachusetts can go ahead and get started on that health study. I have every reason to believe that that will be forthcoming. I can't state that as a fact today, but I received a very positive response from Dr. Mason and from the state officials as well. And I would hope in the next very few days, no later than the next few weeks, we'll get the authorization and get moving on that particular study. The whole issue of toxic sites is well known to the people of our Commonwealth. We can look at a situation where those that dumped these poisons, and now the company is out of existence. The founders have long since gone to their eternal reward, and now this community is left with this. But it is important to understand that this is not a community's responsibility. This is really the state and federal responsibility. I look forward to working with those in this community who've done such an outstanding job. Dort, many of those people who have been active within the community have raised these issues with us, and they deserve a great deal of credit. The selectmen, the local representatives, the senator as well, they've been an effective team, and I've enjoyed the chance of working with them and working with Paul Keogh, and I think it's important to let the people in this community know that we're going to continue this work and this effort and this commitment, and it's absolutely essential, something I strongly believe in, and we'll look forward to making progress to ensure the health and safety and the well-being, not only on this site but also in regards to Sudbury, the Sudbury River, and then Paul might address the other dangers which exist in a subsidiary way to the backup of reservoirs, and what that thing can mean over a period of time, and the importance of ensuring that we're going to eventually get some cleanup in that area.
Well, of course, that's one of the reasons that this site was named a national priority. This site, because of the potential contamination of those backup reservoirs. We will be doing, as I said, an analysis of the Sudbury River to determine whether or not there is any significant contamination problem from the site. I would like to just echo what the Senator said about the community has really pulled behind the site, and I know that EPA has been criticized sometimes repeatedly for its lack of progress, and we understand that, but there is no one who wants to see this site get cleaned up more than EPA. We have many other sites, 21 in Massachusetts. We have another about 74 sites, 75 sites in New England that we have to work on, and many others that still have to be identified. So we have our plate full. We have 28 site managers for all of those sites. So we would like nothing better to get this site cleaned up so we can move on to the next one. And it has taken a lot of time. One of the things that makes it very difficult is the various types of contamination and the volume of contamination that you have. We're talking, in this site alone, over 100,000 cubic yards of contaminated material is scattered around here. And there's no way, for example, that you could dig that volume of material up and take it off-site anywhere. It would take over 8,000 large trucks working around the clock to be able to do that. It would take several years of truck traffic going through a community, and from a health and safety standpoint, there's no way that that could be accomplished. So we believe that the cleanup that we have identified in this phase one will be protective of public health, would accomplish the job that we would like to see done. I would also echo the strong support that we receive, encouragement and criticism from state representatives, Senator Burke, and some of the others in the community. The Citizens Advisory Committee have worked very well in helping us address the issues. They are the people, Senator, as you know, you've been very strong supporter of the Citizens Advisory Committee concept, because they are the ones that actually have to live here with the problem. So we're hopeful to get this contract finalized and signed now. We want to get people on the site sometime in the next month or so. We hope to do it. Hopefully we can begin a lot of that work in the springtime, and really it'll take about a year and a half. I believe. Richard Cavaliero, by the way, is our Superfund site manager for all of the sites in Massachusetts.
Off-site. I know that people don't want to talk about it, but they truck the vault out, as you say, with the cost and the truckloads going through the town. That's just as bad as what's supposedly being redeposited on the hill. The people of this community are always going to live with this problem. It's always going to loom over. Our drinking water is only 2.5 tenths of a mile west of here. All these considerations concern myself as a citizen, also a member of the Board of Health. I don't think, in my personal view, the cleanup is going to solve the problem. I have a letter I want to give the Senator after too, if you read it.
Respectfully disagree with you, since this type of cleanup has been carried out successfully in other areas. But there is no, it's not a dollar issue. First of all, you don't have any place that's going to accept that volume of material. Second of all, I think you'd be creating more of a, if you're concerned with public health, you ought to be concerned with 20, 30 trucks a day, big 18-wheelers loaded with hazardous waste a day for 3 years going through that community. I would think that would be a greater health threat than what's going to happen here, particularly with the technology that we're going to use.
I want to say, Paul, I want to thank you, the EPA, on behalf of the town, and Senator Kennedy, who was always a supporter of endeavors such as this. And I listened today to your comments about trucking. And I wish you told that to UMWRA when we expended about $80,000 plus, because that was one of our features. And we had a meeting with them. Transportation was very important. But again, I appreciate your cooperation on behalf of the town and all the town. Also thank Representative Nyanza and Senator Burke, everybody that contributed to this effort. Thank you very much.
I'd also like to thank the Senator for helping the observation. It's such a primary problem. Out there, big trouble.
What we'd like to do is just take you into another area.
For those who haven't seen this material, there is a little isolated clearing area where you can actually see what we're talking about, an exposed area. I would ask that you
Don't take any
follow me
souvenirs.
and not spread out too far, all right?
Division east of that, that's the A1R.
That was a little strange.
Hey, I was kicking up
Hey, Larry, nice to see you.
Wakefield.
We get a lot of good friends there. Hello, Bill. My brother and I always used to get a blood. And I was convinced about it the other day. I was pretending. A lot of people raised about
the residents of the village are usually affected with the national fund. The same type of stuff is actually left with the but and it is about somebody's fit. So like 10 to 12 feet deep of material, but it just takes and of course, back when they did the dumping, they didn't think about the ramifications. Beginning, well, now all the areas water, there's no private wells, but there is significant contamination kicking down. And that's what our
once you get that cap, how long is it? What are those already?
Most of this stuff,
they don't know where it's going.
most of this stuff up here
Sure that the cap is maintained. You don't want to have. The whole purpose of the cap is two things. One is to prevent direct contact with contaminated soil. The second thing is to prevent fishes from getting in, so that if you percolate prevent the diversion system that would be installed, prevent any water from coming underneath it and taking contaminated soil. So water will be diverted away.
I would like to just remind, I guess, folks of something that the state is required to pick up 10% of the construction costs and 100% of the monitoring costs. So for the next infinite number of years, the state is required to cover all the monitoring costs for a long period of time, much larger than the actual construction costs. We're going to get a change in it at the federal level. It has an effect on the incentives for the design. If there's a possibility of a permanent cleanup, which has less monitoring costs, we would like the incentive structure in that direction.
Of course, under the new Superfund amendment center for the bias, of course, is towards the end. Once again, you take the site bigger than over so originally budgeted to cost 5%, because of the incineration project that we carried out down there, you're looking at 50 to 70 million. Greater than expensive as well, but when it comes to protecting public health,
We would slow down the EPA Superfund funding next year. Now it's been funding, it's going in as a possible revive that. Now that has been revived and the stream of revenue it seems to be sufficient to continue with this site and others.
because there was a, actually we announced this phase of cleanup in September of 1985 because of the debate that was going in Congress about all of 85 dollars.
Done a good job in the interim.
Okay, well, sorry about that.
We have an impasse here.
This would be entirely a local issue.
They don't say they got nothing authority about it, but this
I would have to
WACA-TV
take
would help.
we have to take a look at whether or not, for example,
Kind of an agreement at least. Thanks a lot. We'll get a follow on it. See what, good to see you. We'll follow, in terms of that situation, find out.
Can you guys?
just what's delivered here.
That's right.
Well, the book is now out.
Nice to see you. Thank you very much. Nice to see you. Thank you. Thanks again. Thanks very much.
By the way, you have my vote.
Nice to see you. Thank you.
That's just your word.
What it talks about is all the representations that have been made and how very few of them are. No, it doesn't talk about those. No. So what we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, that's good. It's kind of overused. Nancy's very good at organizing.